All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for being here. Good morning. It's a beautiful day in Burlington. My name is Ben Travers. I'm the president of the Burlington City Council, and I'm thrilled to see all of you here. It's a testament to how invested we collectively are in our city and in the future of our community. I'm also joined today by Councilors Sarah Carpenter, Evan Litwin, Buddy Singh, and Allie Schachter. We would be joined today as well by Councilors Mark Barlow and Becca McKnight. They are out of town at the moment, but are certainly with us here in spirit. Collectively, today, we as Burlington's Democratic City Councilors, representing a majority of our City Council, are introducing Burlington Forward, a comprehensive framework to build a safer, stronger Burlington. Burlington has always been a compassionate city, and this resolution reaffirms our commitment to helping people experiencing homelessness, addiction, and behavioral health challenges. But compassion does not require us to accept conditions that leave people suffering on our streets or make our cherished public spaces less safe for everyone. There's nothing compassionate or progressive about allowing our daily status quo to persist. For too long, our public conversation has been framed as though we have to choose between compassion or accountability. We reject that false choice and believe we can do both. We care deeply about people in crisis and expect that they will be treated with humanity and with dignity, while also recognizing that every city, Burlington included, has its limits. We have reached a moment where Burlington needs to decide whether or not it's going to accept its challenges in front of them or confront them. I believe Burlington is ready to move forward. We believe Burlington is ready to move forward. We don't have to lower our expectations. We have to raise our expectations. This resolution, and there's a QR code on a press release, and it's posted online. I welcome your checking it out. You'll see it's comprehensive, 20 pages in length. Wait for them to go by. Glad to see SD Ireland down here. The resolution is comprehensive because our challenges are deep and interconnected. It creates a path to better accountability for repeated unlawful conduct. It restores and activates our public spaces. It establishes a more sustainable framework for emergency shelter and supportive services. It clarifies the application of our zoning laws and related public processes that need to happen if we're going to stand up syringe service programs or, in the future, an overdose prevention center in our city. It strengthens our regional partnerships and requires meaningful public performance standards so residents can see whether our policies are actually working. Burlington Forward does not have all the answers. I suspect it will be refined and added to as it now moves through the legislative process, hopefully with the support of the mayor and our progressive colleagues. No matter where it ultimately lands, though, it represents a different way of governing. It takes ownership of the city's responsibility for the current state of our downtown and acknowledges that our current challenges will not be solved by continuing to do more of the same. Thank you. Government has a responsibility to set clear expectations, to measure outcomes honestly, to change course when policies are not working, and to be accountable to the people it serves. We'll hear from my colleagues now, and I'm thrilled to introduce my colleague, Councilor Allie Schachter. Allie?
Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to see so many of you here. Thank you for being here. As President Travers just shared, today we're introducing Burlington Forward, not as a finished product or a list of all the answers, but as an invitation for our community to come together, set politics aside, and have an honest conversation about how we move Burlington forward at this critical moment. One of our community's greatest strengths lies in our ability to show up for one another, to listen and to lead with care. But compassion isn't measured by how long someone remains in crisis. It's measured by whether we're helping people find housing, treatment, recovery, and stability. It's measured, today, too many of our neighbors are suffering. despite the extraordinary work of our city staff, nonprofit partners, outreach workers, first responders, and so many others who show up every day with empathy and dedication. They deserve our deepest gratitude, but they also deserve systems that work better. And this resolution is an invitation to build those better systems. It asks us to strengthen our partnerships with the state, with neighboring communities, with nonprofit service providers, with businesses, and with residents, because Burlington cannot and should not carry these challenges alone. I'm particularly excited about the parts of this framework that focus on bringing more joy and vitality to our shared public spaces. Burlington is an incredible city. Our arts and culture, our stunning waterfront, our parks, our small businesses, our neighborhoods are worth celebrating and investing in. And our vibrancy hasn't disappeared, but it's being challenged. Burlington is at its best when our public spaces are filled with people, families, students, visitors, artists, musicians, festivals, and neighbors simply enjoying being together. And that's the Burlington that this resolution is working toward. Ultimately, Burlington Forward is about optimism. It's about believing that if we're willing to work together, listen to one another, and be honest about what's working and what isn't, that we can build a city that is more compassionate and more vibrant than we have ever been. So thank you so much, and with that, I'd like to invite my colleague, Councilor Buddy Singh, to say a few words.
Thanks, Allie. Thanks, Ben. Thank you, fellow councilors, and thank you to everybody that's come here today. I see so many community leaders, regular residents, and people that truly care about this city. Well, we cannot ignore the problems that are outside, where compassion alone can fix them, especially when compassion isn't met with a willingness to engage. I want to commend our public safety personnel, both at BPD and Burlington Fire, who are working while severely under-resourced. Consider this: the top 2% of individuals account for 20% of the incidents. That's 89 people account for over 1,500 incidents in our city. 40% of those people have housing. We need a system that has clear boundaries and real accountability to address this. This has been a tremendous lift for our city, and we do need to take up our share of responsibility. But it's not our responsibility alone. And we have to acknowledge what we have been doing is not working, while also recognizing we do not have all the resources here to turn this around. I'll turn this over to Councilor Carpenter, who can speak to who and where we can look for help.
Thank you, Buddy, and thanks to everybody who has come down this morning, and to my colleagues who spent a lot of time on this proposal, which, as we've mentioned, is not a finished product, but we've got to spend time on it, and we need to work in good faith with our mayor and all of our city councilors to come up with some solutions that provide us with some assistance now. We need assistance now. Doing nothing is serving none of us at all. I, as many of you know, have been in housing and human services for over 40 years, and at this time I've never felt so alone. What are we going to do? Burlington needs your help, our help, all of our help. We cannot run social service programs. That's not a municipal function. I actually have been around long enough that I remember when municipalities tried to do it, and it really didn't work. At that time, the state was to step in and run these programs with a regional focus, working with our local nonprofits. Well, right now, that system is failing for the city of Burlington, and we've really got to do something about it. We also should not be the lone municipality who's standing here this morning. We need help from our neighboring communities. The citizens that we have sleeping in the rough, suffering from mental health problems and addiction, and being preyed upon by others, are citizens of the region. They're not just citizens of Burlington. We need the state to coordinate a system that serves those community citizens And we really need a system that supports Burlington so we can manage our community safety for all. So again, thank you for your engagement, and we look forward to how we can really flush this out and get something going.
Thank you all. As we wrap up now, I want to again just state how sort of blown away how I am by the turnout here. We didn't send out invitations. You all learned about this organically over the last 24 hours and showed up, and it's a testament again to how invested you all are in the future of our community. I see community leaders, business leaders, service provider leaders, residents here who day in and day out over the years, notwithstanding our challenges, have continued to step up for our community, have continued to invest in our community. Now it's our time to step up for you. Burlington Forward is an invitation to move beyond the false choices that have divided our community and instead focus on what works. We love this city, I love this city, and we believe deeply in its future. Burlington remains an extraordinary place with so much going on for it. You don't have to look very far this morning on a beautiful Vermont day to see that. If we come together, take ownership of our challenges, and commit ourselves to meaningful results, I have no doubt our best days remain ahead of us. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to our media partners as well for being here. We'd be happy to take a few questions from the media if you have any. Otherwise, again, thank you all for coming out this morning. Thanks. Any questions from our friends in the media? Yep.
Do you think that a program like the Needle Exchange can coexist with this framework that was outlined in the
I think there's a number of important public health strategies that are important for the state of Vermont and historically have been important here in Burlington. Our syringe service programs in Burlington and across the state have played an important role. I think what we've seen in recent weeks is that downtown may not be the appropriate space for a public health program like that. I think, unfortunately, our zoning processes right now were not set up for that to go through a permitting process where the public, residents, the community, local business owners had an opportunity to weigh in on that. What the Burlington Forward resolution says is that a public health strategy like that is, yes, an essential component of our helping our residents who are suffering from substance use disorder, but it needs to be a part of our zoning framework, and our public needs an opportunity to weigh in if we're going to stand up something like that.
It's the places the services
I think for a number of years, a program like a syringe service program across the entire state, it doesn't exist just here in the Burlington area, has been an important component of our helping folks and to avoid infectious disease and to, again, be an important part of a comprehensive public health strategy. The issue is the process by which it was stood up here, the fact that neighbors did not have an opportunity to weigh in on it being stood up downtown. And frankly, from my perspective, I think whether it's that or whether it's a future overdose prevention center that the mayor's administration continues to talk about, it does not belong in our downtown core.
That was going to be my next question. There's been talks for years now about this overdose prevention center coming to Burlington. There's been talks about what sites are being reviewed for it. Is there any update about when we can see the next steps of that? And are the Burlington Democratic City Council in support of there being one directly in the city?
I think we've been expecting for some time now the mayor to come before the council to provide us an update on the status of their work on an overdose prevention center. There was a comprehensive community survey that was done on it, the results to which are posted online. And I will tell you, one of the biggest concerns that I had in reviewing that survey is that it recommended the downtown as a possible location for that service in the future. I think it has a number of hurdles that it would still need to work through in order for it to be stood up in Burlington. I'm troubled by the fact that there was a recommendation that it would be located here in our downtown. What Burlington Forward makes clear is that right now, Burlington is not zoned for an overdose prevention center. And if we're going to stand that up, we need to amend our zoning law. We need to go through the process to have an informed discussion about where a service like that properly belongs. Aaron?
The resolution talks a lot about accountability and a heightened public safety presence downtown. Is that supposed to do something other than criminalize more homeless people, or what does accountability look like?
Just wait one moment, Aaron. Do you want to? I'm happy to continue to take that, or do you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, if you want, would rather me weigh in on that.
Oh, sure. I mean, as chair of our Public Safety Committee, I think Buddy can answer that.
Yeah, I think the way the question is framed, it's not about criminalizing people who don't have housing. As I mentioned in that statistic, 40% of the people that are responsible for most of the incidents downtown do have housing. We have stood up probably one of the most compassionate criminal justice system. You know, I've spent time now at treatment court. I've gone to the CJC and seen what City Circle does. You know, I've been seeing what they do in diversion and those type of things. But there are people, as I've said, that compassion alone isn't going to get the accountability that we need. And this is the important framework. If they are not willing to engage in a very compassionate system that we have set up, there needs to be accountability for those folks. And without that accountability, we're allowing something to persist and persist and persist. And I believe that's why all these people are standing here, because we are allowing these problems to persist and persist. And I think accountability is an important piece of compassion. They are a balance, and when that scale moves out of balance, we see the repercussions and the externalities on the harm that it causes to the greater community, not just those that are vulnerable.
So, buddy, is the answer involuntary treatment?
The state has a very high hurdle for involuntary treatment, whether that person is a danger to themselves or to others. And these are the things that we need to examine as a system. And again, if we don't have the infrastructure in this state or even in this country to stand up the supports that people need who are straining our systems and are not willing to engage, we have to look at different opportunities on how we address that. And I believe we haven't been doing that.
So, Buddy, what does accountability look like?
I think accountability looks like those people, you know, that are not refusing to engage in the system. We have to put them through the system. Thank you.
Yeah, you want to mention something? Please, sir.
I agree with Councilor Singh. What I think it's important to point out that our system has some big holes in it. Somebody just asked about involuntary commitment. That is a terribly high bar, but we don't have many options for voluntary commitment. You know, many of the folks know they have issues, but we have nothing to offer them. And we are so behind in the options, which aren't rocket science. Lots of states have them. Supported residences. We don't have. We've lost the supported residences that we had in Burlington and in the county. If somebody knows they're having trouble, tell me where, we can send them. And I think the state is really behind in the options that we need to serve those folks.
I think I would just add, and then we'll take one or two more questions if they're there. I just want to know, I completely reject the notion that expanding our public resources downtown is somehow criminalizing homelessness. Public safety resources, yes, takes the form of more police officers, which we desperately need, but it's also representatives from our service providers. It's our community service officers and liaisons. It's our urban park rangers. It's the yellow shirts that we have working over the course of our summer. Additional resources in our downtown to, as my colleagues here said, provide resources for those who are willing to accept them and to hold accountable those who are doing real harm to our community. And it's the mindset around the idea that putting public safety resources in our downtown is somehow criminalizing homelessness that, from my perspective, has gotten us into the place we are in right now. And so that is the dynamic that we need to change. And that's the dynamic that this resolution is intending to change. To follow up?
Ben, during the budgetary process, you and other Democrats talked about the need for further cuts to reduce spending in including, you specifically talked about cutting, aspects of the city government that address the kind of stuff that you're talking about today. And I know you've talked about this resolution about, looking to nonprofit partners and other towns in Chittenden County to help address these issues. But, barring the willingness of those entities to step up and fill those gaps, are you still in favor of those cuts, or how do you think that the city should take a role in this?
I think there are definitely efficiencies that can be found in the city budget, and that will be a discussion for a later day as we work to address the concerns of our taxpayers and affordability issues here in our city. As we went through the budget process, though, recently in FY27, we had strong concerns about where the cuts in this administration's budget were coming from. There were cuts to our downtown programming and events across our city. There were cuts to monies that we had put towards public safety resources in past budgets. It was through this FY27 budget cycle that the Council Democrats worked to put another $150,000, which is there and available and could be used tomorrow to expand our use of contracted public safety resources downtown. It was through our FY27 budget process that Council Democrats supported our putting more money back into Burlington City Arts and other organizations to do more programming, which has really given Burlington its best days in recent months. Those are the budget areas that we want to highlight. There are other areas where we believe that we can find efficiencies, but today we're here to focus on the Burlington Forward resolution. One more question, perhaps?
Did you, as the Democrats of Burlington City Council, make your progressive counterparts aware of the press conference that you guys are having today? And if not, why was that decision not relayed to them?
We have delivered this proposal to the mayor and to our progressive colleagues. We have expressed to them a strong interest in our collaborating and working with them over the coming months. Our intention is to formally introduce this proposal at our next meeting on August 3rd. But we have told our colleagues in the mayor's office that we're not necessarily looking to steamroll this through at our meeting on August 3rd. We know that it's a comprehensive resolution. It's a lot for them to take in, and that they're going to have the time, along with the city's department heads, to consider it and to provide us feedback. And so I expect that after this is introduced on August 3rd, that we'll be working with the mayor and with our progressive colleagues over the course of August to receive that feedback, to have a really refined product that I hope will receive the unanimous support of the council and the mayor later that month.
Are the Democrats on City Council open to amending the proposals that you have in this based on how the progressives respond to what they see in it?
Sure. I think all of us have always been willing to work with this administration, to work with our progressive colleagues. And frankly, one of the reasons we're here today is because we've provided this administration more than 2+ years to stand up and say what we think needs to be said. We are here now because, from our perspective, enough is enough. And what we've said today and what is said in the Burlington Forward resolution, someone at the city level needs to stand up and lead on it and say what we've said here today. All right. Thank you all for being here. We'll look forward to your continuing to engage and our continuing to be in touch. Please look at the resolution. I mentioned we want the feedback from the mayor and from our council colleagues as well. We also want your feedback. This is not a finished product through the legislative process. It is a living document, and we have a living city with dynamic challenges where we look forward to receiving your support and feedback as we move forward. So thank you again, and thank you to our friends in the media for being here today as well.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Patricia Parmelo, born and raised in Burlington, Vermont. Had worked with my father when I was a child on a number of different programs in this city, and I love Burlington. I'm here today in front of one of our newest building, in front of Jitters, and I am here to support the Burlington Forward program. Burlington is a spectacular city. We have incredible resources, but we have a community in need, not just for our homeless and those addicted by drugs, but also for citizens, children, and our community that needs to be safe, needs to feel comfortable, and needs to be able to have fun while the people who need services get services. So that's why I'm here today, and thank you.
I'm grateful that the Burlington Democratic City Councilors stood up today with their proposal for Burlington Forward. It's about time. And what I really appreciated is they understand that this is not just Burlington's work alone. There are big system changes that have to happen collectively across the state, from residents to lawmakers to our governor. And I've been disappointed in Governor Scott for years because he has left Burlington and Rutland and Brattleboro and other towns, the hub towns, to deal with this on their own. This is a collective work that needs to be done, and I look forward to the mayor and the progressive city councilors coming on board, and of course our fellow residents too, because we can do this Vermont. I believe in us.